My name is Terri. I've been a physical educator for 34 years, and I am President-elect of Shape America. And I have a dream. I dream of the day when physical education and health education are core components of every school's curriculum, and every child learns what they truly need to learn to live their best lives. I have a dream of the day when physical education and health education teachers everywhere have the resources, funding, and professional development needed to do their best work and provide quality instruction. And I have a dream of the day when we no longer have to fight for our existence. How can this dream be achieved? How can we get away from being marginalized subjects and constantly playing defense to the place where we are non-negotiable components of every school's curriculum? As physical educators, what can we do differently? This presentation began with words borrowed from Martin Luther King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech, made during the March on Washington in August 1963 to over 250,000 civil rights supporters.
In what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
I wonder, what can we learn from the great inspirational leaders like Martin Luther King and movements like the Civil Rights Movement of the 60s and other successful organizations and people? What can we learn to use with our own cause? Simon Sinek, in one of the most viewed TED Talks ever, Start with the Why, says it's all about the why. What separates the great leaders, organizations, and movements from everyone else is that they all start with their why. In his TED Talk, Sinek talks about the golden circle with its different layers. The outer layer being the what. What do you do? Then the how. How do you do what you do? And then the why. So the successful leaders, movements, and organizations start with their why. Their why is their purpose, inspiration, their reason for being. And that guides everything they do. So let's run through the golden circle with the civil rights movement. The why, the purpose, was equal rights. The how was litigation, education, and direct action. And the what was legislation, like Brown versus the Board of Education, voter registration organization, freedom rides, and more. Now let's run through the golden circle the other way with physical education. What do? We provide physical education in school. How do we do that? Through lessons. And why? What is our why? Ask 10 physical educators and you're going to get 10 different answers. That's a problem. If we, as a profession, don't know what our why is, then what are we doing? And what's our purpose? How can we justify our existence? And if we don't know what our why is, how can we expect anyone else to? This has opened the door to a whole host of problems, with other groups invading our space and claiming they should count for physical education. Marching band, JROTC, cheer, even rodeo, all competing with and sometimes replacing physical education. And more recently, people like Joe Wicks.
Knee to elbow, good. And I love nothing more than inspiring my little daughter Indy. She's 18 months old. She comes in and watches me exercise. She goes.
Joe comes from the UK, but he's out there in social media. He claims to be the world's PE teacher. Check out his views. That's close to 7 million. It's pure physical activity, but who's to say it isn't PE? Joe Wicks is just the first to capitalize on the need for distance learning because of the pandemic. He's the first in a long line of opportunists trying to make a buck off the pandemic. And with massive budget cuts on the way, we should be worried, because many school districts don't know what quality PE is and will have no problem replacing their teachers with an online PE service such as this, so they can check the PE box. We're at a critical time that can either be seen as a crisis or opportunity for the profession. I say it's an opportunity, but we need to take action now. Where do we start? We start with our why. What is our why? Our why is powerful, possibly the most powerful why in all of education. So powerful, it has the potential to resonate with all. Our why is something everyone in the field and anyone else who's involved with and cares about children can get behind. Our why is about equity, inclusion, and preparing all students to live their best lives. It's the foundation of the better world we all hope will emerge from the COVID crisis. The best thing about our why? We don't have to go looking for it. We already have it. Our why is physical literacy. It became our why in 2014 when the national standards and grade level outcomes were revised by Shape America with physical literacy as the outcome. Physical literacy is a new concept for us, and we're still trying to wrap our heads around it. I've worked hard to do this myself, and I want to share with you what I've learned, because I've come to realize adopting physical literacy as our why has the power to be a game changer for both our students and the profession. Let's start with the definition of physical literacy. Physical literacy is the ability to move with competence and confidence in a wide variety of activities in multiple environments for the healthy development of the whole person. Let's unpack this. Competence means we're working to develop our student skill level to the point where they can participate recreationally. Not at the elite level. Our job is not to create varsity athletes, but to equip our students to engage at the park or on the playground, and to move with confidence. Confidence is your belief in your ability to perform a skill in a wide variety of activities, as listed here. Not just one sport or activity, but several different kinds of activities, and in multiple environments, on land, in the air, on snow, on ice, and in the water, that benefit the healthy development of the whole person, not just the physical. Physical literacy is a journey, one that is unique to each one of us. It starts with our first heartbeat and continues to our last. One of the most valuable things I've done has been to draw my journey. I highly recommend you do the same after this presentation. If you're like me, you'll notice your journey has been impacted by the friends you've had, the environment you've lived in, and opportunities that have come your way. For example, I grew up in a street full of kids, mostly boys, and it was here where I learned how to throw, catch, climb a tree, and play hockey. And that was a good thing, because at the time, there was no PE for us. We didn't get PE till the 8th grade. And for me, being a girl, there weren't a lot of opportunities to play organized sports. Later on, the environment I lived in impacted my journey as well. I lived in a place with snow on the ground for 8 months of the year. I had the opportunity to learn how to curl, cross-country ski, downhill ski, snowshoe, and more. You'll notice with your journey, things have similarly sped you up and slowed you down, and you'll notice it's changed over time. When you're done drawing your journey, take the time to reflect how your journey differs from that of your students. I think you'll agree, it's very different. Physical literacy was adopted as the goal of physical education for several reasons. First of all, it just made sense. Countries all over the world had already adopted physical literacy as their goal. This put us in step with what was going on worldwide. Secondly, the word literacy is easy to understand. Developing literacy is the goal of schooling. By using the term physical literacy to describe what we do, it puts us on the same footing as the other subjects. This makes it easy to understand what is accomplished in PE. The term physical literacy also adds value to what we do. Developing literacy requires learning. This makes a clear distinction between what we do in physical education and physical activity. They aren't the same. In physical education, students develop their physical literacy, and their physical literacy enables them to be physically active. Finally, physical literacy conveys a vision for the profession, a vision that includes a greater role for physical education. From the traditional practice of teaching children to play sports and games, to opening the gateway to active participation on the playground, at the park, in daily living, on the job, and in other words, in life. And upping our ultimate goal from improving health to improving the quality of life. All right, I'm sure by now you're in great suspense, dying to know how to unleash the power of our why. Two ways. Firstly, we use our why to guide our professional practice. Everything we do must be done with the goal of developing physical literacy in mind. Lessons are standards-based and designed to increase students' I cans. Every I can opens the gateway to participation in physical activity. For example, if a student can throw, then they are able to participate in all of these activities. Had we met in person for this presentation, we would have done an activity where you're going to be on a team and competing to collect as many I cans as possible. Now, if we take a closer look at all of these I cans, they're the I cans from my Vintage Hills elementary program. From grades 1 to 5, students worked to develop these I cans, and there are 21 of them. So, the activity I had planned would be several teams doing some sort of relay activity where you collect one I can at a time, and once you have all 21, you put them in order to see what they spell, which is, I am physically literate. Then we talk about what would happen if my program wasn't so wide in variety, say just focused on traditional sports and games. There wouldn't be as many I cans. And for my students, the development of their physical literacy would be impacted. Next, lessons are inclusive. Why? Because all children have the right to develop to their full potential. And right now, we're a long ways off. The Aspen Institute, in their white paper on physical literacy, identified these groups in greatest need. These groups are least likely to be physically active at levels that will benefit their health. Our responsibility is to provide inclusive, culturally relevant instruction, and to remove barriers so all children can experience success and learn to the best of their ability. We can make a difference. I know. I've seen it. When physical literacy is our why, we also strive to provide meaningful experiences. Our job is to turn students on to physical activity, to light a fire in them that will motivate them to engage in physical activity on their own time. Students find meaning in a variety of ways, so it's on us, when we're planning instruction, to make sure we provide learning experiences that allow each and every one of our students to connect in a way that's enjoyable for them. Physical education is a playground, and it should be the best part of their school day. To review, when physical literacy is our why, lessons are standards-based, inclusive, and meaningful. Physical literacy is evolving. It may take a while to figure out the best way to make it work in schools. But I think you'll agree, this is a really good start. Now that we know our why, let's go back to the golden circle. Our why is physical literacy, and that guides everything we do. And because of what we know about physical literacy, our how is to deliver learning experiences that are meaningful, inclusive, and standards-based. And what do? We teach physical education. Notice we no longer provide physical education, we teach physical education. The second way we use the power of our why is to use it as the foundation of our advocacy efforts. Physical literacy provides the justification for why physical education belongs in school. We unleash the power of our why with a strong message delivered at every level, from the top down and the bottom up, with messaging that looks like this. Secondly, we need you to help us extend our reach by getting your colleagues on board and educating parents, administrators, school board members, and the community about physical literacy, what it is, why it's important, and the vital role physical education plays in developing it. Then we get to work building a physical literacy coalition. There are 200,000 physical educators in the country. We take our 200,000 and join forces with everyone else who cares about the health and well-being of children. Parents, national sport organizations, community recreation organizations, and everyone else. And we become too big to ignore. It all starts here, with every physical educator being able to explain the purpose of PE and why it's important. That's my goal for this presentation, and one of my first goals for when I become president of Shape America. Let's see how successful this presentation has been. Here's a tool I created to help teachers with their messaging about who we are and what we do as a profession. It's called the Who Am I chant. I'll give you some time to read it. Who am I? I am a physical educator, strong and true. Developing physical literacy is what I do. I know my why. I believe in a child's right to have the skills to move with joy and delight. The standards guide what students learn in an active environment where all get a turn. All means all. Building competence, confidence, motivation, desire. To get this done, I'll walk through fire. I am a physical educator, strong and true. No one else is qualified to do what I do. Children deserve quality instruction provided by a qualified, credentialed physical educator, period. I am a physical educator, proud and true. This is who I am and what I do. Stand tall, physical education colleagues. You impact students' lives in a way no other can. I was able to bring the Who Am I chant to life with the help of my students at Vintage Hills and some of my California colleagues. Check it out.
I am a physical educator, strong and true.
Developing physical literacy is what I do.
I believe in a child's right
to have the skills to move with joy and delight.
Standards guide what students learn.
In an active environment where all get a turn.
Building competence, confidence, motivation, desire.
To get this done, I'll walk through fire.
I'm a physical educator, strong and true. No one else is qualified to do what I do.
I am a physical educator, proud and true. This is who I am and what I do.
In this presentation, I've shared my dream. If my dream is also your dream, then join me and let's get to work.
Thank you for watching this session from EPEW2020. We're saving the next few minutes for you to ask those final questions before we log off. If you have any questions afterwards, please reach out to the presenter or send a message to EPEW through our website.
Don't forget that we have more amazing sessions going on. Head over to our website, epew-cp.weebly.com, and look for the virtual EPEW 2020 tab.
You can also access the presentations on YouTube by typing in the hashtag EPEW2020.
We'd like to thank the amazing EPEW committee for all their hard work over this past year. This event would not have been possible without their dedication, commitment, and volunteering their time to providing high-quality professional development.
Don't forget about our other events like our socials and share times. Links can be found on our website.
Remember our motto for EPEW, come to learn, leave as family. Thank you for joining our family today.